My name is Derek Maribon, CEO of Ingenix Digital Marketing. I'm up here with Stacy Collick of Dollar Bill Printing, and she has a basket of money and she has a t-shirt, and we're happy to be here. So this is LA2M. We meet every Wednesday. We are a 501c3 marketing nonprofit. We're all about marketing education. So every week we bring in very talented speakers who come in and they teach things, and usually you learn something. Is there anyone here who's first time at LA2M? Any first time people? Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome. How did you hear about this program? I'm just curious. What inspired you to come? Any newcomers? Yes?
I'm new to the area,
okay,
and was Googling different ways to start networking and getting to know people and businesses in the area, and you guys were the first one on the list. I was excited, and it looked like something I could really get involved with.
Great. How about you in the back? What brought you up?
Dave.
Dave brought you up. Bring a friend. Thanks, Dave. Thanks. How about you, ladies?
Tasha brought me.
Okay, you brought a friend. Okay, well, thank you. It's we've been having this Bring a Friend program, and I think it works. And hopefully, your friend enjoys it. We also have Steve from the Michigan Radio, right? We're big fans of Michigan Radio, MPR, and actually Ryan's dad was involved with Michigan Radio for many years. So still is. Oh, he still is.
Yeah.
All right. See, there's lots I need to know, but basically, so we're up here. There's a couple things. It's free to attend these events. There's no membership fee for LA2M, but if you want to help us stay alive and support us, we pass the hat. So this is how we kind of fund ourselves. So if you can throw $2, $5, whatever you got, that helps support LA2M, which is really wonderful. We'd appreciate it. We are a completely volunteer-based organization. So, Carter shoots the pictures as a volunteer. Roger records the programs as a volunteer. We live stream these. So we have people watching all around the country and the world. 2 people. They're usually in Iceland. I don't know why. There's something with Iceland.
All the good marketing happens there.
Yeah. So, all right, a couple things. We have sponsors at LA2M. And we have a great sponsor this month who has a great program coming up, and I think he sold it out, but he still likes to talk, so I'm going to let him talk about it. And thanks to our sponsor, Bud Gibson.
Thank you. Well, hey, I figure I'd pay, me, so I'll get my money's worth. I'm Bud Gibson. We are sponsoring the Search Marketing Workshop. We're taking place Friday, November 22nd. I know there's a number of people as I look around the room who have signed up to attend. We're beyond sold out. We sold out, then we had a wait list, then we had people asking us to please let them in, and we acquiesced to that, but now we can't add any more seats. So it will be on the web after we get done for those who can't come. In a couple of months we'll have the sessions. It's at thesearchmarketingworkshop.com. We're particularly proud of it because we have developed our search marketing program in Eastern Michigan 6 years ago. We've grown it organically. We've managed to get great community support and uptake, and it was basically, for most people, only $25 to attend. So it's our way of giving back.
So thanks, Bud. And Bud actually, his search marketing workshop is sponsored October, November. We have a sponsor for December. If anybody wants January or February, to sponsor LA2M is only $250, and our newsletter goes out to around 2,000 people in Southeast Michigan. So you get a banner ad on there that goes out to them, and you also get to promote your organization at our meetings. So thank you, Bud, for doing that. And if you do want to sponsor, come talk to one of us. Stacy's going to get the t-shirt. We also have t-shirts. Bank of Arbor donated those for us, so we're going to get that to Ryan Schram, our speaker.
Work tomorrow.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. And Ryan can probably use those because he's down in Florida.
What? What do you live here for?
I live here.
Oh, you live
He
here?
lives
You work
here.
there?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Thank you.
So real quick, a couple points of business. We will not meet the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and December 18th is our holiday party. We're about to put up the webpage for it. The holiday party is always a great event. It's a good thing for you to bring out if you have employees, people at your company. Come on out. Conor O'Neill does a huge spread, and it's usually a fun event. We don't have a speaker that day. That's December 18th. So plan on that. That'll be a $20 ticket. It's going to include lunch, a 1 drink ticket for the bar, and it should be a really fun, festive event on December 18th. And the format for this meeting, for all you newcomers, the speaker's going to talk. There may be some time for Q&A. And then at 12:45, we do introductions. So at 12:45, the speaker finishes. We give him a big round of applause. and you can introduce yourself. So if you're looking for work, if you're hiring people, if you have some news about your company, you can share that briefly, and we always end our meetings at 1 p.m., just so you know. Today's speaker, he's a fellow redhead, a fellow Spartan, so I feel like I have a lot in common with this guy. But his name's Ryan Schram, and I met him back when he was at ePrize. And Ryan is, let's just say I'm glad I met him. He's very, very, very talented. You know, not only is he extremely knowledgeable about digital marketing, and he is one of the, the VPs at ePrize, which is, is a very successful company that does, gaming and internet marketing. He really helped them grow. And now he's with a new company called IZEA, which, I probably don't even understand it, but the way I explain it to people is if you want Kanye West to tweet about your product, you work with these guys because they broker deals to get celebrities to promote, and I'm sure Ryan's going to expand on that more. But Ryan is also very, very charismatic. He's one of the friendliest people I know. He's a great salesperson. He's very, he's like a true Midwest superstar. It's interesting. They always say in New York they like the Midwestern guys because of how we were raised. So that's a good credit to all you Midwesterners here and to Ryan Schram. But today's a good day for him to speak because Michigan State just beat Kentucky for any Spartan fans out there. So let's just ride that.
Riding high.
Yeah, let's ride high. And let's give Ryan Schram a big round of applause. Welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, is the mic working? Can everyone hear me in the background? Naturally loud, so hopefully it's okay. I am just absolutely thrilled to be here today. It is a rare opportunity for me to actually, A, be in town, B, have a chance to speak to a group of people who are also in town and not have to fly somewhere afterwards. So thanks to Derek and the whole LA2M team for inviting me and having me here today. So we're going to spend some time this afternoon talking about a relatively new area in marketing and advertising. It's called native advertising. Has anyone heard of it? Native ads, influencer marketing, a few people. Okay. So my company, IZEA, helped create this space back in 2006. So what I'm going to do today is share a little bit about our story, talk a lot about the influencer marketing and native advertising space, and also share with you a body of research that we've done for the last 5 years called the State of Sponsored Influence Study. So for those of you who are still finishing off your calendar year 14 plans, or for those of you looking to pick up some new tips and tricks to use in your marketing mix, I'm hoping today's presentation will be useful for you. So to help understand the context of what it is IZEA does, I want to play with to you a quick video that we put together that's an imaging piece about the company.
We are the fuel of the influence economy. We champion the poets, the artists, the visionaries, the disruptors, the people that push the human race forward, inspire us with their ideas, propel us with their passion, and confound us with their insight. We back the people that make us dance, make us laugh, that make us smile, that make us share. We put food on the family table, gather people through education, support their pet projects, and make life a bit more fun. We see brilliance in every dancing cat, and every ranting blog, every tweet, every pin, every post. We welcome the world's creators, foster new opportunities, and make dreams a reality.
So we talk a lot about technology and how it's changed the marketing ecosystem. We very much believe that at IZEA. And the concept of native advertising and the beauty behind what it is that we're doing every day with our technology is really reflected in that piece. I don't know if you noticed in the lower right-hand corner, there were Twitter handles for each of those people. We refer to them as influencers or creators in a larger class. And influencers can be people who blog, who tweet, who pin, who post, who YouTube. And in the case of native advertising, it's unifying all that content and passion with advertisers who want to gain access to it. So what we're going to do today is walk you through what this is all about. The category that we focus in specifically at IZEA is a space we refer to as sponsored social. And there's a tremendous amount of activity going on inside that space. So to kind of take a leap back, we very much believe at IZEA that the world has gone social. I love the stat that if Facebook were a country, it would be the 3rd largest on the planet, and that almost nearing 70% of US adults over the age of 18 are participating in social media in one way, shape, or form. Whether they tumble, whether they blog, whether they're on Facebook or Twitter, we have a tremendous amount of engagement not only in this country, but in countries around the world. So fundamentally what's happening is that ultimately folks are spending less time with traditional forms of media and marketing and more times with progressive, engaging forms of social content, whether it's user-generated video, social networks, and all of it's happening in a mobile environment. So what ends up ultimately happening is that for brand marketers, they have some very specific challenges. They're really trying to capture this fragmented audience on the go. They're also trying to figure out a way to engage people in new ways and compelling ways that are more evergreen. And one of the things that changed with the advent of social in particular is that every single one of us has become an influencer or a creator. How many people in this room participate in Facebook and Twitter? A lot of you. How many of you participate in blogging, Tumblr, etc.? A handful of you. Great. Who likes to pin on Pinterest? Yeah. A lot of the women are skewed that way demographically. That's the idea here, is that every single person has become an influencer. So again, it's all about trying to figure out for the brand, how do you become a part of this conversation, right? There are hundreds of millions of people in this country alone, billions around the world, who are interested in being able to share their passion, and brands want to become a part of that conversation. So here's the story of IZEA. 7 years ago, our founder and CEO, my good friend Ted Murphy, saw this coming from a million miles away. And he had this amazing idea. He thought that, okay, one day, there needs to be a company that brings together influencers or creators on one hand, and brands or companies on the other. Sort of like how eBay works. There's tons of auction sites that are out there, right? Why is eBay special? They're special because they have the largest amount of buyers and sellers in the same place. So we sought out to build a technology company that would do that. And the first iteration of the company back in 2006, the company was venture-backed, and it was called Pay Per Post. And the idea was very simple. This was during the advent of MySpace. It was to try to get people who are MySpace users and very early blog users to take opportunities from brands and write about products or services. Well, like most great ideas, it was a little bit ahead of its time. And in fact, in 2006, the media didn't respond very well to that. In fact, they said, I hope that the company crashes and burns. And everyone from TechCrunch all the way back to mainstream media pretty much trashed the company. And the reason for that was, at the time, social, and even things like blogs, that was where you spent or shared your deepest, darkest secrets, right? It was more like a personal diary. The concept of corporations doing this, and large entities or people doing it as their careers, that just didn't exist. But we persevered, and we kept on pushing because we knew someday this would happen. And things started to change. It's funny how that happens, right? So in 2009, Forrester, which is one of the leading research companies in digital, they put out this study on sponsored conversations. They were talking about how there was an entirely new industry that was going to be born. And then the next year, Chris Beatty, who ran ad sales for Gawker, Gawker is a large holding company of many blogs online that you might be familiar with, he said the majority of their revenue in 3 or 4 years' time was going to be derived by advertising revenue from sponsored posts or native advertising. And then last year, Forbes started selling native ads on Forbes.com. So what this is a screen grab of a Forbes website that is an article brought to you by SAP, the technology company, talking about SAP solutions that showed up not only on Forbes.com as an article, but that was tweeted out, pinned on their Forbes Pinterest board, and placed on their Facebook fan page. A whole new way of deriving revenue as opposed to what was typically sold, which were the banner ads on Forbes.com. But the real aha moment for us and for Ted in particular, was back in 2007, shortly after the company was born, he met with the folks from the New York Times. And he said, look, I think there's an opportunity for us to work together. You have all these followers, all these people who are on your .com, and you should be working with brands in a different way to monetize your presence. And they basically laughed Ted out of the room. They said, no news organization will ever do this. So then you probably can understand the humor that I found when I rolled over one morning in Las Vegas during the Consumer Electronics Show and saw this tweet from the Associated Press on behalf of Samsung talking about new products that we're releasing at CES. Samsung paid the Associated Press to distribute this content to all their followers. Even more shocking, when I took this screen grab, look at this, 15 people had already retweeted it. Someone had retweeted an ad from the Associated Press on behalf of Samsung. Something was changing. So then we started figuring out, okay, well there's a way to involve brands in a very clear, apparent way inside of these social conversations that were going on. And you flash forward to where we are today, we're servicing all sorts of brands and agencies in pretty much every category under the sun to take advantage of the power of sponsored social. So you might be asking, why would brands want to do this? What's in it for everyone? Well, first of all, let's talk about what sponsored social is fundamentally. Derek was using the example of getting a tweet from Kanye West. By the way, he's in our network. At a very fundamental level, this is how it works. We have a brand that we work with, say Allstate. This is a real example. And they came to us and said, we have a new brand positioning campaign that we're doing called Live the Good Life. So You're in Good Hands is going to be the sports anthem. Live the Good Life, which you may have seen if you watch The Voice on NBC, other kinds of things, is going to be more of the soft positioner for the company. They came to us and said, we're looking for celebrities and non-celebrities to share their stories of how they're living the good life. But what would be really great, IZEA, is if you could use your technology in your marketplace to find us a celebrity who's active in social, who also happens to be a judge on The Voice, which limits the category of the horizon to all of 6 people in the world, right? Well, fortunately, our man here, CeeLo Green, is very active in social and loved the idea of working with Allstate. And he put together this tweet that said, every week I see people trying their best at something they love, keep on living the good life. And he hashtagged the campaign's hashtag, he put the Twitter handle for Allstate, and there was a link there, a bit.ly link, that went back to a YouTube site that Allstate was maintaining that had a full high-def version of their minute-long spot that aired in The Voice that night the tweet went out. All right? So it's pieces of content like this that are ultimately done by providing compensation, cash compensation, to social influencers. And that's in exchange for them creating the content, them wanting to work on behalf of that brand, and ultimately facilitating a business relationship. Fundamentally, that is what our technology does at IZEA, and our marketplaces do every day. We've done about 3.5 million of these since our inception in 2006, to give you a sense of scale. It's an exploding space. By the way, I should stop right now and say, if you have questions, I'll save time for the end, but if something pops on the screen, you have a question, please, I'm really informal. I'd love to hear from you. So let's take a step back and talk a little bit about what native advertising is, and our space and how we fit in this whole hemisphere. So native advertising is the umbrella area of investment of what's happening right now in social monetization. And there's 2 primary channels underneath it. One is promoted content, and I'll share with you some examples of what that looks like, and you probably have seen it many times. And then where we see ourselves, which is this sponsored influencer, sponsored social. The fundamental difference between the two is that promoted content is in the voice of the brand, and it's dynamically injected into your timelines, whether it happens to be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. And then sponsored influence, or sponsored social as we refer to it as, is the exact opposite. It's an individual person or persons working on behalf of the brand in their voice. Does that make sense? And you'd be exposed to it because you see those individuals in your timeline, you're already following them. So a perfect example of promoted content. Who's seen this in their Twitter feed? This is an ad from McDonald's talking about a chocolate chip frappe. And it clearly discloses that it's promoted by McDonald's, and they paid to target myself, and I'm sure many, many others, for that message, because they know that I happen to like coffee in the morning. Another example is on Facebook, in your timeline. These guys keep showing up for Derby Jackpot. Has anyone else did this? I don't know what happens. Apparently they think I'm a degenerate gambler or something, but basically, this is the #1 horse racing site on the internet, and they've injected this into my feed. Maybe I'm going to too many conferences in Las Vegas or something, but what's odd about promoted content, what you're probably seeing as being a disadvantage, is that what's happening here is that a machine is trying to make some assumptions on how to target me and provide an advertisement that they think is relevant to me as a follower. And obviously there's many cases where that's off. Where you have sponsored social start to shine is when it involves celebrities and non-celebrities whom you are already following. So it's organically or naturally coming up in those different places that you find most meaningful. So for example, in the upper right-hand corner, a campaign we did recently for Dish Network, that's Jillian Michaels. You probably recognize her from The Biggest Loser and other kinds of things. This is her actually promoting the Hopper product from Dish Network, and that would appear to her 12.5 million followers on Twitter, for example. Another place where it shines is in blog posts. So our clients at Duct Tape, yes, duct tape is still around, it's not just used by plumbers. Duct tape is actually one of the top brands for DIYers because they come out with all these incredible designs. So they came to us and said, we would love to have several hundred DIYers. We'll send them our product, we're going to pay them, and inside of their blogs, we want them to show their own unique ideas on how they use our product. So what they had in this campaign were hundreds of influencers who have tens of millions, hundreds of millions of followers off of their blogs in aggregate, creating this amazing content. That is not a stock photo. DIYers are some of the best amateur photographers and videographers on the planet. That is their idea of how to take a duct tape Christmas design piece of tape and make decorations for their home with it. And that content lives on forever. And the brand then can use it for other purposes as well. So it's this play that is very much dipping into different pockets of the marketing ecosystem. As you stop and think about something like this, it is one part content marketing, one part very much brand marketing. You're bringing awareness to a series of products, new or existing. It has benefit to social because all of these assets, whether it's the copy, the pictures, the video, that can be reused on Facebook fan pages, Pinterest, YouTube. But then it also dips into some interesting areas that people don't think about, like SEO. So because these are legitimate blogs and other social channels, and this content never gets deleted, unlike a display advertising campaign or a search campaign, the minute you stop paying for it, it turns off and it's as if it was never there. These posts get indexed by all the major search engines and come up as the top results. So if right now, if you type duct tape Christmas into your mobile device, I guarantee you the first 5 or 6 pages of results will be posts from this campaign that were indexed over the course of time. That's the power behind it. So then we took the concept and expanded further. So started with blogs, then when Twitter came online in 2008, we embraced Twitter. When the Instagram community and Pinterest community came alive, we started realizing there was a huge chance for sponsored photos and sponsored videos to also empower brands to work with influencers, whether they happen to be celebrities or non-celebrities. So you have in the center top Zooey Deschanel working on behalf of Revlon. So Zooey has several million Instagram followers. So just her posting a photo using a new lipstick can be influential to the brand. and sort of a micro endorsement, if you will, on a celebrity level, or everyday people. I love this one. House Full of Noise. This is a mommy blogger who involves her family in her content. So she was actually working on behalf of Mrs. Smith's, the pie company. And her bailiwick is taking everyday inexpensive items from the grocery store and sort of plussing them up for a cooler, more gourmet experience at home. So this is her doing that with her kids and showing how they were sampling those pies in her household. And that, for a brand, as you might imagine, has a tremendous amount of utility and a tremendous amount of value. Because to show the product in someone's lifestyle being used is a tremendously powerful asset. So why does all this work, right? Why do influencers want to do this? Why do brands want to pay for this? Let's talk about the marketers first. Because ultimately, they're getting what they want. They're getting unique branded content from trusted, real people, everyday consumers. That content is being syndicated to the platforms where it is native, thus the term native advertising, right? It's the ability to target individuals. So to give you a sense of scale here, our marketplaces at IZEA currently work with about 750,000 individuals and untold numbers of companies that are available for brands to work with. So that can range on one end, mommy bloggers that we talked about just a minute ago, to male sports fans who want to talk specifically about the NFL nonstop every day for Buffalo Wild Wings. It gives them also a tremendous chance to recognize some media terminology. Everyone familiar with the idea of click-through rate or CTR? CPC is cost per click. So to give you a sense of how the world has changed, in display advertising right now, it's not uncommon for the click-through rate to be in the tenths or hundredths of a percent. I mean, every time someone sees it, there's a 0.04% chance someone would click on it. The links and the other forms of media that appear in something like a blog post, it's not uncommon for us to see 4 to 15%, not tenths or hundreds, 4 to 15% of people who are exposed to it engage with that. Again, it has a lot to do with the fact that these are trusted relationships. The influencers genuinely want to work on behalf of this brand, and because the influencer genuinely has that feeling, the followers of that influencer trust their opinion and their transparency in that business relationship. And that's what we believe drives that rate to be so high. Make sense? So then you look at it also from the standpoint of what's the value beyond just this business relationship between the brands and the influencers. And we have some very interesting stats. I'm going to share a lot more of this from our Stata-sponsored influence study. But one of the things I found most interesting is for influencers who are sponsored by a brand, over 80% of them will verbally tell friends offline about why they love that brand. And almost 90% of them are more likely to purchase from brands that sponsor them. And you might be thinking, well, for a pack of gum or a box of mac and cheese, that's not so exciting. However, we do a lot of work in automotive. We do a lot of work in travel and tourism. Those are big ticket areas where word of mouth, online and offline, can have a real impact on the bottom line. And then you look at the other side of the coin, influencers are getting what they want as well. So they're able to create original content on behalf of blue chip brands that they really love. And for people who are doing this from their homes or as a side business or in some cases as their primary line of work, the way that they've earned income traditionally, that world is changing. People used to earn money off of AdSense with banner ads or other forms of individual sponsorships. Unfortunately, those dollars, those CPMs, are nosediving and they're drying up. So the ability to create content on behalf of brands through a marketplace like IZEA's gives them a chance to not only choose who they may want to work with, but also gives them meaningful monetization that doesn't deplete their value over the course of time. In other words, it's the perfect partnership. Whether they're the dog or the monkey, I'm not sure. So we're going to play a game here. Who likes game shows? I like game shows, right? We're going to play a little thing that I call What's It Worth? All right? So one of the pieces of research that we looked at was what someone would pay. Oh, there we go. There's my music. All right. Apparently it's not breaking through on the audio side. We might have a short. But the question is, what would a marketer pay for a certain form of content? So we're going to go to the first one here and talk about a sponsored blog post. So this is, think of the world in its entirety of really famous people who may blog all the way down to everyday people like folks in this room who might blog. If you were a marketer, what would you pay on average for a blog post? Derek, any guess? We'll start with you. For one post.
From a regular person or from a celebrity?
On average.
$500.
$500? Survey says actually $85.40 on average. So celebrities, as you may have guessed, can earn tens of thousands of dollars per post in a blog. Everyday people, on average, earn just short of $100. So you take a number of these over the course of time, you can start to see how that adds up. Let's talk about a sponsored tweet. 140 characters or less, right? It's a hashtag and a couple other things that you write unique. How much do you think as a brand you'd pay for that? Any guesses?
$140.
$140? So more value for a tweet than even a blog post. Let's see. Survey says, actually very similar to a blog post, about $83 on average. Now this skews out because, again, the brands end up paying for the quality of the following, the caliber of the individual, basically that person's influence. A marketplace like ours can help calculate that. A celebrity, it's not uncommon for a celebrity to earn upwards of $250,000 for one single tweet. All right? Can you imagine? That's easy money, right? Nice work if you can get it. How about sponsored videos? Something that would show up on YouTube. Requires someone to have video chops, the gear, probably is a minute or two long. Any guesses on what that would cost? That's actually a little more expensive, about $94 on average. And this is an entire ecosystem. I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles. I don't know if you've heard of companies like Maker, and there's an entire ecosystem around the YouTube community that's blossoming in Los Angeles right now because the joke goes in LA, it's the largest population of employed people anywhere, right? And there's lots of people who want to be actors and grips and camera people, and they are creating content inside of the YouTube ecosystem, and they're desperate to monetize it. So we see that as a huge opportunity. So what's interesting then is we looked at what a marketer would pay, and then we went back to the influencers. There are about 10,000 people in this study, all right, between brands and influencers. And we said, all right, influencers, what do you think you're worth, right? What's the difference between the two? There's one thing about someone will pay for it, but what do you think you're worth? So for a sponsored blog post, the influencer thought that they were worth $99, all right? Now, if you recall correctly, the marketer was only willing to pay $85. Why is that important? That's where marketplaces or exchanges become so critical because those negotiations can happen electronically, similar to how a stock exchange would work, right? So for a company like IZEA, deal flow is ultimately the name of the game for our technology. So another couple of contrasts for you. A sponsored tweet. The influencers who tweet, on average, said they were worth about $74 a tweet. The marketer was actually willing to overpay for them. They were saying, oh, I'll pay $83 for that. So there's value upside down there a little bit as well. So the bottom line is, when you look at all these different things, we compared every form of social interaction we could think of, from blog posts all the way down to check-ins, a sponsored check-in. Would you pay someone to check in on Foursquare to where we are right now? Lots of people do. But the interesting thing was, on average, the influencer placed a higher value on themselves than the advertiser. But that gap is changing dramatically. We've been measuring this for the last 5 years, and there used to be, I want to say, about a 30 or 40 point percentage difference between the value on average, and now it's down to less than 5 or 10%. So in other words, brands are willing to pay more and seeing the value of what native advertising and influencer marketing can do for their mix. So a couple other things that we found really interesting from the marketers that were in this study this year. First of all, 30% of them said that display advertising is dead or dying. Display advertising, for those of you that don't know, are the banner ads that appear on everything from your favorite sports site to the right rail of Facebook. Another interesting stat, the largest percentage ever, 60% of companies are now saying that they have a standalone social marketing budget that they're actively accessing for things that would fall in our ecosystem, in the IZEA world, but also for things that would impact Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or Pinterest. What's also interesting for us is understanding from marketers on the issue of compensation. Have you compensated a social media publisher with cash, trips, free product? And 5% more this year, it's hard to see with the color off the projector, but it's at 60.6% of marketers are saying that they have or are going to in this year compensate social influencers for activities in one way, shape, or form. And what's interesting also is then to transpose that on what areas are important to marketers right now. And I gave you 3 years of data. The gold is 2011, the blue is 2012, and the purple is 2013. And you can see some interesting patterns. So right now, the largest percentage of interest is almost a dead heat between blog posts and tweets. But look here in 2013, for the first time ever, almost 30% of respondents were saying they'd like to be able to sponsor influencers in the Pinterest ecosystem, right? Think about that for a second. Pinterest, which has a valuation of well over $2 billion, I believe, right now, and it has no ability to make money for themselves yet, now has a whole secondary ecosystem of marketers accessing influencers to do that on their behalf. It's amazing how things are changing, how fast they're changing. So then we ask marketers, how are you interested in compensating these individuals? Is it cash? Is it free product? Is it coupons? The interesting trend that you're seeing here is that overwhelmingly cash is king. And not surprising, right? Because you don't want to pay people in free diapers, right? If you're Huggies, there's only so many free diapers a new mom can use where you start saying, I'm not going to create content for you anymore because I'm worth more than that. In fact, most influencers, which we'll show you in a second, prefer cash as well as free product. And we looked at, well, what do they think is most important out of social sponsorship? And some of these things are pretty apparent. We talked about a few of them before, but sentiment of content is key, click-through, quality of content, the way that the engagement or the comments come off of those posts, whether it's blog posts or Facebook statuses. And then you look at that from the standpoint of how do you measure success? Overwhelmingly, the quality of content and the way that it's shared is how most brands are evaluating the benefit of sponsored social. Some other fun tidbits. Over 15% of influencers consider themselves to be a celebrity, which is very funny. And almost 35% of marketers said they've hired a celebrity. What people define as celebrity is still up for grabs. Then we looked at what the influencers were saying. And we'll wrap up quickly here. But we wanted to understand what kinds of passions do they have. Overwhelmingly, it tends to be family and parenting leading the pack, business and life in general being other areas of primary focus. Incidentally, if you have a friend who's a gamer or someone who's into technology who happens to be male, that is the hottest niche right now that we're trying to fill. So send them my way if you don't mind. We also asked influencers, have they received compensation from a brand or an advertiser to promote something? This is an incredible percentage. 92% either have or would receive compensation. 7.8% said they either no or they would not. What's really interesting is that of those who said no, they would never consider getting paid to work on behalf of a brand, 83% of those people said that they would if they got a free BMW. All right? So the point is, everybody has their price, and the context is really a subjective, blurry line. So, what types of relationships are we seeing happening in this space? You know, we're seeing a lot of things that are direct sponsorships, meaning the compensation comes for exactly doing a post. Or indirect, where free product happens to be awarded. The least likely is some sort of material relationship where you're an employer and you have a financial connection on a contract basis or a contractor basis with an organization. In other words, the era of the micro endorsement, which is where we see us playing, is here and we think here to stay. Influencers, you know, we ask them, how do you feel about different forms of compensation? Not surprisingly, they prefer cash and they dislike not getting paid, right? So then I said, all right, well, if 81% of people prefer not getting paid, what other things do people dislike? I think that 81% of people dislike Geely, right? Or Play from Kid and Play. Or 81% of people don't like empty beer glasses, right? The bottom line is, like we said before, we really feel like the world has changed in the promotional setting. Back in the old days, it wasn't uncommon for a PR agency to ship somebody a free case of diapers, literally, and say, please write about this on P&G. We look at this very much in the same way as, you know, you don't pay Google for ads, you don't pay yourself in diapers. Influencers have evolved to sort of feel the very same way. So a couple other things here. You know, we're looking at a time contribution from these individuals that is really profound. To give you some context, over a quarter of the people who responded to our study said they're spending an equivalent of a full-time job, over 40 hours a week, interacting with their followers in social. How amazing is that? And a large percentage of them, over 40 hours a month, you know, you're seeing in terms of the time that they're spending in social media overall. Yes?
How could this apply locally? Local influencers, local smaller companies?
Great question. So we work with a number of media companies who, in many cases, will use their channels and afford them to local advertisers. But then if you also think about it from a context of geography, social breaks the normal targeting of localization, right? It's a little bit harder because the people who might be influential to your potential customers may or may not be geographically in the same place as them, right? So that's changing in time, but by and large, where we're seeing the largest growth right now is in national, regional, and international. We think that what's going to change a lot of this is you look at a platform like Twitter that has 220 million active users, which is relatively small, right? Platforms like Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest, the more users they acquire on a localized level, the more visual content and short-form content becomes meaningful, and we think that'll change them for local. So to wrap up, you know, one last thing you should be aware of is that the FTC governs all of this, and we think that's a phenomenal thing. So there's an effort, in our case it's part of our core technology, but in many cases, you know, it's something we have to remind people of. All of these relationships are disclosed. And how that's done varies from platform to platform. You might see on a platform like Twitter a hashtag ad, or on YouTube you might say, this video brought to you by Belkin, all opinions are 100% mine. There's actually a very, very concise series of goals, and we've looked at how both influencers and marketers have understood those guidelines, and we're happy to see that by and large, you know, there's a trend that people understand that if you're going to be compensated, you need to let people know that you have them. So just to close this out, a couple of key takeaways. Obviously, we feel very bullish that sponsored social is growing and that the popularity continues to spread. on a local level all the way up to a global level. Our business is doing work in about 150 plus countries around the world right now. So this is not just a US or a North American sensation. This is very much a global sensation. We're happy that influencers are now earning more with sponsorships than other traditional things that are starting to erode. We're giving people a chance to send their kids to college or pay for that vacation they wouldn't otherwise have. And that is transforming lives in our own little way. We're also pleased to see that the sophistication of the space continues to evolve, not only through the channels that are available, but in the ways that you can measure and extract value from the investments that brands are making inside the space. We're also happy to see, and coming from a radio family like Derek so nice had mentioned, by the way, I'm a day sponsor for Mission Radio, Steve. Quality of content has been and always will be, in this marketer's opinion, the most important thing. And we see that in our research and our niche as well, from both the influencers and the brands. And then, I think the other interesting part is you look at the number of followers and the traffic overall for all these social channels, all these influencers and creators, and we are on a meteoric rise right now in terms of how consumers want to engage with those individuals and consume their content. And lastly, we understand that compensation, particularly with cash, is becoming mission critical for these business relationships to consummate and continue for the foreseeable future. So the future is very, very bright for native advertising. Yes?
I just want to go, I'm an accountant, so that's my disability. But I want to try and see this model. You go out on the web, you go to, say, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, you look at followers.
Yeah.
And of course we know simply from the media they're obviously Hollywood people that.
Sure.
So what do you do if they're non-Hollywood? You pick them out. You look at the followers, you look at the quality of their blog posts or something, and then you contact them and say, oh, by the way, we would like you to be a sponsor of ads. And then the negotiation goes on between you and this person, and then you go to, obviously, simultaneously with the product owner, and you say, well, we've got someone who would be willing to do it in this range,
yep.
Cash. So that's where this deal comes. This is where this market is going to develop. So that's how it works then?
Everything that you're describing, with the asterisk being that's all happening with being powered by technology. Mm-hmm. So in our case at IZEA, the 750,000 people have already attached themselves to our marketplace. Mm-hmm. So we can look at all their analytics, we can rate them on their quality and their engagement, all the things that you were talking about. But then what's happening on the buy side of the marketplace is that our sales team and our partners will go out and work with brands, and then we'll go through and do those matches that you're talking about, those negotiations, all electronically back and forth.
Sure. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
That part's good. And then, again, it's from these negotiations that the price develops.
Yeah, actually, the vast majority of the asking price of the influencer posts is what the brand ultimately accepts for a lot of the dynamics that we talked about before on pricing inversions. The most negotiation happens at the highest levels, with celebrities in particular.
Sure.
So I don't know if we have time for questions because it's almost 12:49. Why don't we do one quick one in the back, and then we got to do the introductions.
I'll stick around too if you want to.
You can stay around too. Steve?
All right, so just a quick question. Do you see a day coming, or are you starting to see it already, that sponsored content becomes so pervasive that it starts to kill the goose that's laying the golden eggs? I mean, I use Facebook a lot less now because I'm sick and tired of sponsored posts all the time.
Totally.
So, I mean, are you seeing any signs of that? Do you see that?
We are in our space, but in the promoted content space, there is fatigue right now. I think what has to happen is a reimagining of value and a reimagining of what really matters, right? Because you look at the foretold tale of display advertising and search. What started eroding the value there was just the proliferation of over-penetration, right? So we think scarcity is actually a good thing to a certain extent. As a consumer myself and as a user of those channels, I think that what Facebook is doing is too aggressive. I think what Twitter is doing is just about right. Although the targeting isn't there, it will be in time. We hope that our model is a good piggyback on top of that.
All right. So let's give Ryan Schram a big round of applause. Thank you, Ryan. I think we sparked a lot of ideas, thoughts. We all had envisions of making millions by tweeting.
Please do.
Yeah.
Sign up at IZEA.com. We'd love to have you.
Okay, great. So let's join the network and you can track us and then tell us how valuable our tweets are. But now we have 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes to go around the room, and I'm confident we can do it because we always do, even though we have a pretty nice-sized crowd. The idea here is give us your name, rank, serial number, then pass the mic to your friend. And we ask that you please stand up when you do this. Here's Ed Vilmetti.
Hi, I'm Ed Vilmetti. At the moment, I'm a freelance writer and technology person in general. The technology I want to remind you about is Google Analytics. I just finished up a project for a United Nations agency in that space. If you have a Google Analytics question or are interested in talking to me about that, I'd be happy to talk.
Hi, my name is Jordan Beecham and I work at Dexter Buildings.
Hi, I'm Brenda Bentley. I'm a local author and I'm currently working on a book about Woodward Avenue. So I'm hoping to be marketing that next year.
Good afternoon. My name is Vivian Bird. My work is primarily in the area of preparing materials for call centers and for distribution to employees regarding benefits and HR content.
Hi, my name is Janet Wolforth, and I work at the University of Michigan in medical research. And through that work, I developed a product that makes anesthetizing mice and rats safer for people. And I also have a daughter that's in the simulation animation and gaming at the University of Eastern Michigan. Yeah. So I don't know if being a male is a requirement. But
it's not.
Perfect.
The niche itself is a rarity.
Hi, I'm Summer Lee. I'm helping Professor Bob Gibson research marketing workshop, and also I'm hosting a traditional drumming concert next Saturday. So if anyone's interested, just let me know.
I'm Stacy from Valleyville, your local digital workshop. Brian, that was awesome. Your slides, your talking. I wish we had more time.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Weiner. I think I'm the only one in the room who's a fundraiser. So it's great to be here. Great suggestions. I'm going to apply them to our next campaign. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Radwick, and I'm a marketing manager and product analyst, and I help companies improve their sales and their branding, and I'm looking for an opportunity to help you. Hi, I'm Tori Kuback. My personal mission is to influence inspiration through value-led principles. I'm currently looking for new full-time employment, specializing in sales and marketing. Know anyone that's interested?
Hey everybody, I'm Dave Murray, the big guy at Good Stuff Studios, Real Bold Branding. I'm going to keep this real easy. If you're not branding yourself or if you don't have a quality brand, you're leaving money on the table. So if you want to learn a little bit about it, come talk to me. I'll just teach you something. We'll have some coffee. I won't charge for that. And if you end up thinking you can do it yourself, game on. And if you can't, then we'll talk money. Have fun.
Hi, I'm Mike Kessley. I'm a human resource consultant.
Hello, my name is Greg Mott. I'm board president for Michigan Ability Partners. We're a local nonprofit organization that deals with veterans and people with disabilities. We impact over 1,500 people locally annually because I am on board because I had 2 tours in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan, and we desperately need somebody who knows something about marketing. So if you want to do some pro bono work for a nonprofit, please see me.
Hi, I'm Steve Kravinsky. I'm the marketing director at Michigan Radio, your NPR news station. And if you're one of the 81% that Ryan talked about that do not like having an empty beer glass, I want to encourage you to join us next Tuesday at Wolverine State Brewing Company. We're hosting one of our Issues and Ale events. It's free discussion that we have, and we're talking all about the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. So if you have questions about that, come on up.
Hi, my name is Keith Carlson. I'm with Wellness and Prevention here in Ann Arbor. We're a division of Johnson & Johnson, and we currently have some open positions. So you can check jnj.com and do a filter on Ann Arbor.
I'm Caitlin Dusko. Currently, I'm an intern at Ingenics and looking for full-time work in the coming months.
I'm Brian Schilling from Clarity Quest Marketing. We are a full-service marketing agency for healthcare and technology companies.
I'm Kelly Caesar. I'm a Public Relations Account Coordinator for Martopia Public Relations Group.
I'm also with Martopia Public Relations Group. My name is Tasha Moore, and we are we recently started a meetup which has a similar format to LA2M, but it's called PR Power Hour, and it's more targeted on public relations. There is a presentation, also an opportunity to ask questions and get feedback from the collective wisdom on very specific PR topics. We are hosting the next one at Espresso Royale down the street here on Main Street next Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And the topic is going to be fine-tuning your PR messaging. So anyone that's interested in learning a little more about PR, check it out. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Samantha Crosby. I am a licensed agent assistant for Farm Bureau. I specialize in life insurance and commercial insurance.
Hello, I'm Eric Shane with All Star Alarm. I'm in sales. I'm currently studying marketing at Clear University, and we are actually looking for work. We're looking for a telemarketer for our office here in Whitland.
I'm Shannon. I'm a CPA, and I specialize in helping small high-tech startups as well as mid-marketing companies with tax and accounting questions. Also a historian, so I'm interested in the Woodward Avenue book.
I'm Roger Rayle. I'm a venture catalyst. I'm helping with a couple networking groups. One tonight is Ann Arbor Video Interest Group. You see how important video is in marketing. It's going to be at Cubs AC's meeting room at 6:30 till 8 o'clock. It's a2vig.org if you want to RSVP. Also, this Sunday night is this year's Ignite Ann Arbor number 8, where we have 16 speakers talk for 5 minutes each and show really interesting images behind them. Several of you in the audience have already done this, Ed included. And that will be at 7 o'clock on Sunday night at the Blau Auditorium at the Business School, but get there early because it might be full.
Hi, Mike Nato with Affordable Computers here in town over on South Industrial. We sell all kinds of computer equipment and we service it too. Also mobile devices and smartphones. And we have lots of good equipment coming in right now just in time for the holiday season, including some very high-end MacBook Pros.
Hi, Laura Kirchner, and I head up client accounts within Gemini Digital Marketing.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou, and I'm a freelance writer, social media content provider.
I'm Carter Sherlin for Arbor Studios. I'm a commercial editorial portrait photographer. Covers just about everything. Shooting a lot of running, which has been really crazy last couple of weeks. I'd read that Madison shoot cross-country regionals in Michigan. Michigan State will be going at it again, the women particularly. Anyway, and the images I shoot, first meetings go up on our Facebook page. Well, I usually try and get them up the same day, one day later. Still got to get last week's up. They'll both go up, hopefully before I hit the road to Madison.
Hey Derek, can I say one thing?
Yes.
One of the people watching is Jim, one of our favorite LA2M people, and he hasn't been here in a few weeks because of family trouble. So say hi to Jim.
Hi Jim. Hi Jim. We miss you. Come back soon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at the unique and interesting people that show up at LA2M. I mean, you people are wonderful. And I want to thank everyone who's brought a friend. And so here's what I'm going to do next week. Bring a friend next week, and then you and your friend will have the chance to win a gift card. I'm going to get like gift cards because I like that idea. I like the idea. We should bring our friends because I think the programming is valuable. And how many of you friends enjoyed the program today? Glad you came. New people. Yeah, thank you. It's a smart group of people with smart speakers. So let's give one big last round of applause to Ryan. Look for him at the Magic Kingdom. He works down at IZEA headquarters. It's like Disney for sweets. It is. But anyways, I'm really glad y'all came, and go make some money, help some people, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
experts. That's very humbling.